communicate with the borrower. Like the borrower, you see a call coming in and no correspondence back with the servicer. And that made you say, wait, if I step in here and just answer a phone call, I may stop a day, which is amazing to see. I think the servicing notes are golden keys to his business to see what's going on. Maybe they're having a problem. Oh man, it's great.
Absolutely invaluable.
Let's talk about those HECM loans a little bit, because I've done several of those and I really like them. So I'm curious to hear your take on.
So real quick, what's a HECM loan for those who may not know?
Home equity conversion mortgage, a reverse mortgage, you can say. And the demographics are there. We've got it applies to people who are over 62 years of age, right? So we have approximately 60 million people that fit that category. And surprisingly enough, in the United States, about 40% of the homes are owned free and clear. Now, mostly that's a generational thing, first of all. I mean, everybody listening, typically, if it wasn't your parents, in my case, because I'm older, my parents, it was always, you pay it off. You pay off the house, and it was free and clear. My grandparents, same thing. So everybody listening, probably your grandparents, that was their thing. And they live in the same home. My mother to this day, I was just visiting her this weekend in Fort Lauderdale, in the same home I grew up in. So it's just one of those generational things from the World War II generation and then passed to their children. So you have the combination of a growing generations, right? 80 million, 60 million people right now in those age groups. We got another 20 million that are only 7 years away from being in that. So that's a substantial wave of humanity that's getting older, and people are living longer. And many of them, you don't have jobs. My dad was a police officer, so he got a lifetime pension. A lot of people work for factories and things like that and had lifelong pensions. When was the last time you saw somebody with a job that has a lifetime pension? So some people are starting to outlive what the money that they have left, but they've got that home sitting there, right?
And what are you doing with HECMs right now? What in a note space? What's your angle with them that you're playing?
So what happens then with the HECM is somebody borrows money from the lender, right? And they have to pay it back really out of three things. They either pass away, or they move out of the house. They have to live, if they moved out of the house into a home or something like that, and a year goes by, these things say you got to pay it off. So how do they pay off those homes? If somebody sells the house and pays off the loan, great. If somebody moves into a home and the beneficiaries, the heirs, if you will, or the sons and daughters in that case, because the person's still living, if they want to pay off the loan and keep the house, they can do that as well. What happens though in many cases is somebody passes away, and now it goes into a probate, and the person who passed away doesn't magically come off the deed of the property, So the owner of that note has to foreclose. Right. And sometimes that has to go through probate. Sometimes there's heirs there that want the house, and you have this process. And I think you alluded to it earlier, Dave, where you said sometimes these companies just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the play. That's the one where somebody passed away and this issue is unresolved. They may or may not have heirs, and this company just wants to get rid of it. Let somebody else work that out. And they're willing to just move on because, when you think about it, the ones who create these home equity conversion mortgages, they don't have the personnel to do all these workouts. So for them, just cut and run and go, you deal with that. If we take a hit, we'll take it now and move on. But you can make a lot of money in that play there, because we've worked on a couple where there were just no errors, but it has to go through a period of time where people can make claims and things like that.
Of course.
And then you do a foreclosure sale. Again, it's on an empty home, everybody. So I'm not saying we're buying these and we're foreclosing on old people. That is absolutely not what we're doing here, by the way, just for total clarification. The house is empty. The person has passed away. And again, it's just, what do we do? And the lenders who created these things don't want to deal with them, so they're selling a problem. And you know what? When you make money in this business, you're always solving a problem. So you identify what these problems are, you come up with a solution, and that's where your money is.
Yeah, and my experience with those is you get back the property, and they tend to be in really good shape.
Yeah,
these are not people that fell behind on payments because they lost their job or they're just deadbeats or whatever. That's not the case. These are people that were good people, you know, they lived in the house their whole lives, they've been taking care of it, and they passed away.
Yeah,
So it's-
If you want
lump
to,
sum,
we did a
monthly
full
payment, yeah.
episode on this topic too, if you
Yeah.
ever want to, back in November with Randy. So it is a huge opportunity for people who want to get into it. Find your local person who's creating these things and become good friends with them. Because
Yeah.
if that person either moves out, maybe has to go to, a rehab facility for long term, or they pass away, you have the opportunity to buy this thing, foreclose, solve their problem. Because realize the fact that reverse mortgage is what it sounds like. They're paying the borrower over and over and over again on a monthly basis to get their capital, and that the UPB, it constantly increases to the point where it stops, and then it's defaulted, and you're basically buying that debt when they would have to foreclose. So in that kind of world, and I agree, the baby boomer boom generation is huge, and that's when the retirees coming. We're going to see a lot of these things moving forward.
Yeah, if Tom Selleck has his way, right?
Yeah.
Little joke there. He's on TV, if you don't know, in the ads, promoting
Yeah.
reverse mortgages. And over time, these reverse mortgages had a bad reputation. But with the HECMs and the way that they're done, they can be really good solutions for some people. Like I said, not all baby boomers are going to do this, of course. We don't need them all to, but there is a percentage. And by the way, they can get lump sum, they can get paid over time, they can get paid for a period of time, they can have a line of credit. It can be a combination of lump sum and line of credit. So again, that's where I look back, and I was looking this up, and I put a training together on this about a year ago. And that's when I first started seeing some of these things trickle in. But again, I think with the demographics, and when you look at the economy and things getting tougher and that sort of thing, but I don't know, if you look at the demographics, it's just logical that these are going to be there, and people are going to pass away. They're starting to pass away in larger numbers. That's just the way of the world. This is going to be something that's there, and somebody's got to cure the problem. So it can be you.
I've got a bid on one. I'll find out on Monday.
Ooh.
Hopefully we'll win. We'll see.
Gotcha.
I'm a big fan. I think they're a great asset, and I think they're just it's a good opportunity. And it's just because something's new and it's different, don't count it out. Check it out and have a look and study it out. Go and watch that
educate
that
yourself,
podcast that we did. Check out Kevin's training. They're great notes. They can be a really good resource.
So we did a question from Josh. When selling a partial performing the owns, is it better to sell a true partial or hypothecation? And then if you're true partial, how do you protect yourself from the partial buyer working something out with the borrower in the event of a default and cutting you out of the back end? So I think what you're doing is you're fusing. We have a video on too. Partial versus hypothecation. They're two different instruments, right? Where partial, you actually own the note for a period of time, where hypothecation is you're using the note as collateral to get a loan. Where that, if you do hypothecation, is I'm going to, instead of leveraging the house as collateral, you're leveraging the note as collateral. Where a partial is you actually own it for 60 months. And if anything happens, you're technically in charge of that note in that 60-month period, Josh. So I'm not sure if you're confusing.
If Josh's question is, should I do a partial or a hypothecation? The answer is, well, do you want lump sum and no payments for a period of time, or do you want monthly payments for a period of time and lump sum? And that's really your difference between the two. The hypothecation, you're going to borrow it, as Dave was saying, you got lump sum, and now you're making a spread on what the income from the note, let's say $1,000 a month, but you got to pay $600 a month on the loan. So you're making $400 there, but you got whatever lump sum you needed. On a partial, you could probably get more money lump sum because you could chop it up.
How about if you're the buyer
you're not
side?
getting any of those.
How about from the buyer side? How do you prefer there?
On the one more time?
If you're buying it, would you rather be buying a partial or doing hypothecation and loaning money against a note?
Oh no, I would much rather buy a partial, because if I'm loaning with hypothecation, the whole goal is you want a low interest rate loan from a bank, say 6%, and you're making 12. That's how hypothecation is gonna help Josh in that case if he did that. But if I'm buying I'd much rather buy the note and make my 10-12%.
And when you do hypothecation, you have to understand that what you're concerned about the back end, you really have in contract that if anything between the borrower and that person who leveraged their note has to communicate with you. If they don't communicate with you, you have to sue them and all that kind of stuff. So hypothecations become a little problemsome as a person who lends on them, where a partial is clean cut. You're direct with the asset. Where if it default, you know about it immediately. They can't resell the note, all this stuff. Where hypothecation, if you come across someone that's not too nice, they can hypothecate 3 people if you don't do it correctly or whatnot. So we encourage you to sell. You can sell the partial as well as buy the partial. I think partials are a really good way for beginners to get involved. If they got $3, $4, $5,000, they can go buy a 6-month, 12-month partial note, right? Easily, and learn the game in that way too.
Yeah. Hypothecation is definitely more difficult today than it was before. Partials, you're right. How do you protect yourself in the contract? That's how you always protect yourself. So build in your contract, in a partial contract, build in there what happens if there goes into default. What happens if the note's paid off? I just partnered with somebody on a note. It was a 5-year note. They paid off in a year and a half because they sold the property, but we knew exactly who got what. Why? It was in the contract. It was outlined in the contract and very simple.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the whole idea of doing these bridge loans, what are the things that you're doing your due diligence different from buying a normal note that you want to know about these bridge loans that maybe would be a little bit different?
Yeah, so I used to do hard money loans, right? So I was used to doing short term, 6 months. I usually did 6-month loans, high interest, 18%, that sort of thing, and charge a couple of points. And that was very lucrative until the market crashed and rehabbers weren't as busy. And that same thing is kind of happening here, where rehabbers, it's tougher to find discounted properties, right now that are good prices, and the rehab is more expensive. So we're definitely seeing a slowdown on that. So these short-term bridge loans are essentially that they're meant to be paid off quickly. And if they're not, what you really have to get a hold of is, what is the property worth in current condition? What's it going to cost? So it definitely bleeds over to real estate skills. What's it going to cost me to fix the rest? Now, hopefully, who's ever, been the lender, they've been getting pictures and, things like that are so important. And you're not always going to get that. But if you have pictures of the rehab, if you have estimate of what needs to be done, obviously that gives you a big leg up. And if the lender, if it's a non-performing bridge loan, they should have access to that property, a lockbox or something like that. So if you got to pay somebody to go out there, take pictures and reassess it, gathering all that information is going to be very, very important for you. And then it just comes down to that basic premise again of investment to value. So what am I paying for this note? You're not going to get it reperforming. That rehabber's walked. It doesn't mean you might not get another rehabber to step in and start paying that loan.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got an alternative for that, start looking at the local real estate clubs and promoting that even before you buy it. You might have somebody says, I'll come in and just take over the loan and, work it that way, or be prepared yourself.
And I think
it's a better play, fix it up yourself and sell it.
Find a local GC, right, to go look at the property and see what the rehab has to be done to get it back and working, or see where outside third party can come in and take a look at the job and see, was permits pulled, right? Did half the work get done and they stopped for some particular reason? And I think that I wouldn't buy them unless I get that information, because you're buying not just a residential property.
Yeah, you don't want to buy it and then find out the house has just been gutted and the guy never really started the rehab. Or all of a sudden now your expenses and margin go up. So
or they opened up the wall and found some kind of DEP problem, right? And just, whoa, absolutely.
Yeah. And so then they decide they just don't.
For a beginning investor, probably not your first note, right? And, go back to what I said and look at the easier stuff, the turnkey notes, because there's a difference when the properties are not in the same state as you, when you're trying to do a long distance rehab. If you're not really sharp on that could be like a long distance relationship, which usually doesn't last, right? So you got to kind of look at these things and go, am I prepared to take that on? So I think those are for a little bit more advanced people. But Again, you look for problems in the industry. It just comes down to that. And these are emerging problems. So we're seeing notes that we haven't really seen that much before in the industry. So again, you go back and you start to think through and read through them and identify those risks, learn the story, and it creates opportunity. So the sooner that people do that, I mean, I work with, you guys know, I work with people one-on-one. So I do personal mentoring and I walk people through every single step, of the way on that. So if you've got someone like that, okay, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but if you're a beginner, I wouldn't jump right into short-term bridge loan buying. I'd stick with that.
And Kevin, I'm going to kind of give you a softball question here. What is the easiest way to kind of get involved in notes? Is it sit home on your computer and watch YouTube, or get out there and get to networking in conferences and other events?
Well, it's a people business. Real estate in general it's a people business. So the skill set, again, numbers and story is one thing, but without knowing vendors and sellers and really, how people ultimately learn is from the experience of other people. Learning on your own is very expensive because you have to make mistakes to learn from them. And how many mistakes do you want to make versus, working, like I said, I'll just use myself as an example, working somebody like me I'm not stumped on a hardly ever, if ever, because I've just been around long enough and I've seen that. So I can lend that experience to other people to prevent them from doing that. So sure, and I won't make it to Nashville. I think that's my birthday weekend, actually. So I won't be out there for your event, but event like that, you'll get a lot of exposure, a lot of networking. And what you find is you'll meet somebody that, let me give you this advice, everybody. If you go to these events, and you should, go there with an agenda. Challenge yourself to say, look, I'm going to engage with 10 people. I'm going to have 10 conversations today with different people. And your event's 3 days, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a 2 day. 2 day.
2 day. Okay. You got 2 days. So set an agenda of who you're going to talk and how many business cards you're going to hand out that particular day, and hold yourself accountable, because if you just go there and kind of watch the shows, so to speak, and don't get involved, you wasted your money, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And you're spending a weekend away from your
on some things, but you'll go home, you'll retain about